Hi, my name is Xiaodong Chen. I'm an associate professor at the Department of Geography here at UNC Chapel Hill. So my current research has been focusing on the impacts of payments for ecosystem services and the development strategies on human-environment interactions in China. Payments for ecosystem services are a type of conservation mechanism that shape human activities to protect ecosystem services, such as food, energy, and water that we humans obtain from the natural environment. And compared to many other conservation mechanisms, payments for ecosystem services are also often considered more effective because they provide economic incentives directly to ecosystem services providers. And so this approach has been widely implemented in the United States, China, and many other countries around the world. Currently in China, there are two major payments for ecosystem services programs. One is called the Grant to Green program that provides subsidies to rural people to convert some of their cropland into forests. The other one is the Natural Forest Conservation Program that protects natural forests through logging bans and also increased investment in monitoring to prevent illegal harvesting. And so in addition to these conservation efforts, because of the rapid economic growth in China, so there have been millions of employment opportunities, mostly in urban areas. And many rural people's livelihood are also affected by development strategies such as rural to urban labor migration and participation in off-farm employment. So within this context that we are trying to evaluate the impacts of these conservation programs and the development strategies on the dynamic interactions between humans and the environment. One surprising and also interesting finding is that in addition to the conservation payment amount and the program duration, people's participation in these conservation programs is also affected by peer pressure. That means people are more likely to participate in these conservation programs if most of their neighbors are also willing to participate. Another surprising finding is that as forests recover following these conservation programs, many wildlife populations rebounded. As a result, crop damage by some wild animals has been increasing. And in fact, we found that a substantial portion of economic benefits that rural people received from these conservation programs was offset by the impacts of wildlife cropping. So in the next stage, we will try to understand the impacts of these conservation programs and the development strategies on a variety of ecosystem services and address questions like what changes in ecosystem services can be attributed to these conservation programs? What development strategies can affect human livelihoods and their environmental behavior that will ultimately affect ecosystem services? We also plan to develop a systems model to simulate the long-term interactions among conservation and development strategies, various human activities, and different types of ecosystem services. So this systems model that we will develop can also be used as a laboratory to simulate human and environmental outcomes under different policy scenarios. So for the next step, we are looking for funding to support our field research to measure changes in ecosystem services and also conduct interviews with key stakeholders. We also plan to map dynamics in human activities and change in environmental outcomes. And this data and information will be used as inputs of our systems model that will be developed as a web-based tool, so that our framework and approaches will be useful for studies on ecosystem services in many other places around the world.